Wow, well, that is amazing. How do you deal with maybe some of these rhinos in New York who try to come in and say, wait, no, like the club should be more this way? Do you say, no, this is, of course, your principles, our principles, but how do you kind of deal with people who try to put roadblocks in front of you or take the club in a different direction?
Well, that's a constant problem with the establishment, with rhinos, with a lot of unprincipled people that seem to love being involved in party politics. I don't know why they get involved if they don't really believe in anything. At the end of the day, it's winning elections is great, but the point of winning elections is not just to win; it's also to effectuate change. We need to actually get our beliefs and principles effectuated and become part of policy. I don't just care if you have an R next to your name. If you're going to vote like a Democrat and you're going to act like a Democrat, I mean, I see no difference. So it's definitely an ongoing struggle, and we have not shied away from fighting back against the forces within our own party and movement, which are looking to subvert conservatism, populism, and the America First agenda. So it's a bigger fight. It's a two-front war, in all honesty, because you're fighting the radical left, you're fighting the Democrats, and you're also fighting a lot of people that are supposed to be on your side, but many of the time they're not. And I think that's probably the more insidious problem that we face as a party and a movement. I mean, we see it in D.C. with all these turncoats voting for gun control, voting for infrastructure, voting for all these Democrat bills that are advancing the left wing's agenda rather than our own, and they don't know how to just stand firm and say no. And that's been a big problem in American conservatism for many years, that we've just had a lot of people that flail and who give up, who surrender, and are first to basically accept the left's narrative and framing on every issue. And we have to stop that. And if we can do it at the individual level, at the club level, at any sort of level, I think that's a step in the right direction. So we're going to continue to fight back against those encroachments into our movement and party.
Absolutely. And I feel like conservatives, they always want to be liked maybe. And so they just think, oh, well, I'll just give a little bit of this, give a little bit of that. And then before we know it, we're all the way moving here and they haven't really given us anything. They never want to give in on anything except for maybe a mansion or cinema. But other than that, everyone else is pretty much dead on with everything they want to do. But let's talk a little bit more about young people. It seems like young people, they're becoming much more political compared to their parents. They're very much into, AOC, whether that's what they like, or maybe they're becoming much more conservative. How do you find it's best to reach younger people to bring them over to the conservative side as opposed to the socialist, social justice warrior side?
You need to present a full, all-encompassing worldview. I mean, say what you want about AOC and the left, but they present a vision. They present a vision of their left-wing utopia, their Green New Deal, their all-encompassing policies. We need to provide a full-scale vision. We can't simply just be the party of, tax cuts and deregulation, both of which are nice. I'm not going to balk at them, but we need to be more than that. We need to be a philosophical movement. We need to have a movement with ideological depth. We need to be a movement that's living in the times, not living in the 1980s or even earlier. We need to be a movement that understands the problems of today and have real world, practical, pragmatic solutions to fix them. I mean, our generation, younger generations, they're lost generations. They're lost economically, they're lost spiritually, they're doing far worse off in every possible indicator than their parents or grandparents, and they're being led astray by these different political movements of the left, and we need to be able to counter that. We need to counter that with serious policy proposals, with a serious vision and a commitment to that vision. That's why the type of consultant-driven Republican-style politics has never worked among the youth. It's really kind of the populist energy that Trump brought onto the stage in 2016 that's really going to help flip the younger generations. And even the generation younger than me, the Zoomers, the Gen Z, I've read studies that show that they're the most conservative generation since the silent generation. And I think goes to the fact that young people are intrinsically, anti-establishment. And the establishment today is left-wing orthodoxy. So they're going to be rebellious against that establishment. And that's going to mean that they're going to be right-wing. So we need to tap into that. We need to tap into the fact that we are now the counterculture in many ways, and we need to embrace it. We can't shy away from cultural issues. We can't shy away from social issues, and we need to provide a message economically that resonates with millions of young people in this country who are struggling to find jobs, who are laden with debt, who can't move out of mom and dad's house, who can't start businesses, who can't start families, who can't do the things that generations of Americans before them took for granted. So that's the kind of movement, energy, and message that we need if we're really going to want to grow the conservative populist movement among the younger generation of Americans.